Is this the real or the other? In fact, I got that texting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm texting these kids. He don't have to text. He don't text at all. So I'm texting one back. And I get a text back that said, "Coach, me and such and such want to commit." And I said, "They're great players from Florida."
Right.
And I called the recruiting coach. I said, "Hey, these guys." He said, "Are these guys that good?" He said, "Yeah, take them." So I called them back. I said, "Are you teasing me?" They said, "Wait a minute, are you Coach Bowden at Florida State?" They said they committed to Florida State. Two great players from this year.
What do you think of him doing this at 77 still? Could you have imagined that?
He's got a lot of energy. This summer, I know you're a big golfer. He played 36 holes a day. In the heat of the day at 77 years old. Tee off at 8, play 18, eat lunch, go back out. I went home, and I didn't play every day. I played when I had to, when they need a fourth guy. He played every single day, plus 3 weeks in Birmingham before that, plus his Hip Day tour. He plays every day. He was playing at 77 years old, 36 a day, in the heat of the day in Florida. I don't know how he can do that. It's amazing.
How does he stay current when he doesn't like the computer, doesn't like text messaging, doesn't like some of it?
His coaches do a good job, and he's the winningest coach in history of college football. He walks in school or walks in home. It's pretty impressive. So he overcomes the lack of technology with accomplishments. I got text. I text last night. I text before I came down here, and I'll text tonight. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to. Yeah. Doesn't know how. He doesn't have to.
What are you going to do when texting is no longer allowed?
Do cartwheels.
Count the pain in the butt.
3 months ago, they all answered the text. Right. Now none of them answer the text. I hadn't got a reply on the text yet because all I got to do is hit a button. And I got 9 coaches texting the same guy. So does that school. He's getting 50, 60 texts a day.
Stylistically, is there anything that Wake Forest did that you predict that we'll see a lot more of throughout the conference this year?
No, I think their offense is kind of unique to their staff and what Coach Grove believes in. And he does, just like what we've been doing the last 2 years with Rob has been constant.
What about defensively? Will there be more zone, bend but don't break type of stuff?
Well, yeah, but nobody wants to. I say nobody wants to bend, but every defensive coordinator wants 3 and out. And nobody wants to change field position because when you bend, you change field position and you make it that much harder on your offense. So, no, I just think they not only they do a great job, but I'm sure their defensive coordinator's philosophy is not bend, but don't sit there and let them change field position. Let's get off the field as big as we can, but they don't have the so-called recruiting classes everybody out of the athletes, and I think they just try to hold on for dear life until the other team makes a mistake, and they do it better than anybody.
Tommy, you've been coaching a long time now. As the coaching salaries for head coaches gotten higher, is that putting more and more pressure?
Some other ones. You mean the other guys?
Yeah, some of this league. Is that putting more and more pressure on coaches to win more quickly?
Yes, there's no doubt. Yeah, when salaries escalated, patience or the lack of patience by the administration and fans decreased when salaries escalated. I want to say 7 years ago, there might have been $20 million coaches. Now there's probably $22 million coaches. I ain't one of them, but there's probably 20. And that shows you how much it's done. Now there's some 3s and some 4s. But there's probably 7 years ago when there was a $1 million little club. Now that club is the $2 million club. I stayed in the other, but there is a $2 million.
Do you think that's good or bad for college football?
You're sitting in my chair. It's good. I think it's good for coach. I tell you what, college football. The best thing. I want to say yes because it's a profession that I choose, but the schools that are paying are the ones that can afford to pay. They're generating revenue through season ticket sales, through IPTO, through whatever. So I think the ones that are paying it and have the ability to generate the income, I think it shows you how much money is in the profession. We play a 12th game with 80-some thousand, $50 a ticket. That's over maybe close to $2 million. So it generates a whole bunch of income. So I don't think it's bad. I think the fact that Alabama can pay $4 million for what they're paying their assistants, it's a drop in the bucket for what they generate. So I don't think it's bad. I think capitalism or whatever it's called, that's what the country was based on.
Won't it create a gap, though, Tommy? A gap between the haves and the have-nots? I mean, we got that already.
Yeah, but I think that's whatever you do in life. And I tell you where the biggest change has been assistant coaches' salaries. It has finally filtered down to coordinators and assistants. I think that's been the most needed because them guys do all the work, and they should get some of the funds.
Kind of like beat writers.
It has filtered down to assistant coaches.
And you've only got X amount of years now, I guess, to prove your worth before people start saying,
the patience. There's less years, like I said. Now some schools, like I said, Clemson, there's been 6 head coaches before me have averaged 5 years per state. That's before salaries were big. So some schools, there's a lack of patience regardless of what the financial structure is. But when you add the financial structure and what the salaries have been, it decreases the patience even more.
So how do you explain how you've had more patience than is ordinary at Clemson?
I'm a nice guy. That's for y'all to determine, y'all to write about. I don't know.
You think they understand the facilities that y'all were so far behind, and they?
I think we've become a little more educated the last few years about things like that. Because the first time I brought up Bobby Robinson, it was an excuse. All of a sudden, you bring somebody from outside the box. Here's a guy that's been in Florida, a guy that's been in Arkansas, a guy been in other schools. Wait a minute, he says the same thing. It gains some legitimacy. So maybe there's been a distrust with the coach here for a few years on. But again, I think that's pretty natural. You don't have a good year, you say that. It's seen as an excuse. But I think by him saying it probably gave him more credibility.
How good's your backfield?
Pretty good. The best. I've only been head coach for 10 years. The best I've had. But like I said, both those guys were really, really good backs.
How do you balance enough carries to go around for everybody?
Well, we seemed to do a pretty good job last year. And I'd say the biggest thing we got to do this year is get them on the field. Now, how that's going to affect carries, I don't know. But again, getting them on the field is going to create a little bit different scenario. How we get a guy the ball right back there is a little different how you get him the ball out there, so we got to be creative in that regard. But I don't know how it's going to work out yet.
Right.
How many more top 25 recruiting classes do you think you need where you have the talent and depth with the Virginia Techs, the Florida States?
We're not far behind them. We are a little bit behind them. The 5 guys we have drafted this year is the most we've ever had. We talked ad nauseum about the first couple of years having none and one and none. And we've surely elevated the talent level. And I don't know how many of those, the number of players I've had the last 3 years as opposed to Florida State, Virginia Tech, and Miami, but I want to say theirs is probably higher than what we've had. So it's a little bit, but I think we're definitely closing the gap. We're a lot closer than where we were. We'll see. We'll see what the draft says this year. But we are closer. We're definitely closer. And like you said, and when Wake Forest does what they do, then it's hard time. We got a hard time relating to that as the talent level. But again, the rest of the teams in the conference had the same problem I had. It's not like I'm the only one that's got a problem with Wake Forest.
It looks like you're going to play a good number of freshmen this year. About like you've done the last 2 years. I don't know how many more years you can see that cycle.
Well, with 53 Letterman coming back, and I think close to 18 starters in 2008, both kickers coming back. Well, possibly both kickers. 18 starters coming back next year. I'd say next year is going to be a very slim chance for freshmen to play. 53 Letterman this year, 18 stars come back 2008. I'd say for us, we go sign a guy this year, whoever we sign in 2008, we'll have a hard time playing. Probably the least of any year since I've been here. Hopefully that's a good sign.
When you look at how loaded y'all could be, or look like you're going to be next year, do you saying,
yeah,
if I can just get to that point, then I'll be okay?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't dare say that.
But isn't that a detriment to recruiting, Tommy? Because you want to get these kids they can play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it goes right back.
Then you use this scenario, which they use for years. If you want to be the best, go where the best is. Practice against the best every day. So then you got to change your recruiting ploy.
Right.
Yeah. But again, you have to. It'd be a good problem to have.
Coach, Are you looking at anybody specifically to kind of take over from where Gaines Adams left off? I mean, is there anybody?
You know, I don't know if we've got one guy that can do that. We'll find out, but I would think it's going to have to be by committee as opposed to one guy. He's awful talented. Ricky Sapp would have the potential, but Gaines he went to prep school and then he was redshirted. So was, as a redshirt freshman, a little productive. Ricky played last year as a true freshman, was never redshirted. So I'm afraid he's not mature enough physically yet to be the